Homebrewing Dungeons and Dragons, a pastime older than the game itself, because of course Dungeons and Dragons was originally a homebrew game for wargaming. Fry Guy just mentioned some of his own homebrew rules that he'll be using for D&D 2024 after seeing the recent uh, PHP. And I have some thoughts. In particular, he had mentioned something about his homebrew fumble rule. On a fumble at nat 1, you would roll an additional die. And if you were proficient on a 1 through 4, you would then fumble. If you were not proficient on a 1 through 8 on that second die, the fumble would go through. And the outcome would simply be that others have advantage on you until your next turn. I mean, I guess it works. It's not for me, and it's not for me for a couple reasons. I'm not a huge re-roll fan. This is one of the reasons I sometimes run into issues with kind of the gambling dice rules that are out there, right? I rolled, I didn't like them, I roll again, I feel like I'm playing Yahtzee. Not that those rules don't work, it's extra work. And if I'm going to put in the extra work, I want something cool. This is why probably I have no reason with Rollmaster, where the secondary roll can lead to all sorts of interesting things. Rolling a second die here, my knee-jerk reaction is that not a huge fan. Although if you think about it, how often are you rolling one to require you to roll that second die? So I think about it, and it's not that I mind rolling more dice. I just don't want to take the time to extend a turn to roll another die. And if I am going to do it, I want it to have a bigger payoff than just, advantage or disadvantage. Looking at some of the things I'm looking at doing, because like I've really been into the Level Up Advanced 5e for Dungeons and Dragons recently, put out by Ian Publishing, is bringing some of that stuff over to mesh with D&D 2024. And that includes the way they handle expertise and specialties. So in a lot of rolls, you're already going to be rolling more than just a single d20, but you'll be rolling it at the same time. Maybe I would roll an additional die when I make that attack roll to determine if there's going to be if there is one on the d20, what's the other one come up for? This, of course, becomes a little bit more problematic if you're working with advantage or disadvantage. If I were going to do it, it might be something more like if you're proficient, the extra die you roll is a d8, and on, a 1 or 2, you fumble. On a d4, if you're unproficient, a 1 or 2, you fumble. And it would still, again, have to be something more than just advantage or disadvantage for me to require that extra work. Even though you're just rolling it with the dice that you're already rolling, it just seems like a bit extra. And that's where I would consider things like a table or those fumble cards. I don't know. That's just my initial thought, and it's something that I would have to test out. I believe that this is an ongoing rule for 5e that the creator has been using. So it's already been play tested and works well at their table. I'm thinking about it from a theoretical standpoint, and it doesn't sound like something I would do, but it does have me thinking, which I always appreciate that, whether it's a rule I'm going to use or just one that gets me thinking, oh, they have a point. What would I do? Definitely appreciate that. Also, really like what he's done with Bladesinger, so be sure to go back and check out his recent videos on the PHP 2024 for Dungeons and Dragons. Hey, until I see you again, remember to be well, be safe, and be awesome, both to yourself and one another.